and welcome to this week's edition of WCS Sports Connection. I'm your co-host, Jeremy Qualls, and with me, as always, my co-host, Tate Mathews. Tate, we had a full slate of games this past week, fantastic atmospheres. The game environments were great. The games, pretty good. WCS played well. It opened up Thursday night with Ravenwood and Siegel coming in. Now, 47-27, Ravenwood probably, if you ask Coach Hester, did not get off the start that they necessarily wanted to. It was 7-7 after one, and it was 21-14 at the half. But then the floodgates opened and Ravenwood showed up.
Yeah, well, you got to remember, brand new quarterback, brand new starting tailback, two brand new receivers. So, right, not the start that he wanted, but again, it's the first time they had played since the Blue Cross Bowl in Cookeville, and a lot of guys to replace. So, and again, a quality, not a great, but a quality 6A Rutherford County opponent in Siegel that, they game planned and they had a good plan and were ready to play too. So, not the start he wanted, but you're right, man. When the floodgates opened, it got ugly. It got ugly quick. And Chris Rowland and Connor Jeffries, they both showed. You give them a seam, you better be pretty fast or they're going the distance. I
agree with you 100%. Connor Jeffries, Chris Rowland, keep that name around. You will not forget them because those two names we're going to be saying a lot this year. Yes. Connor Jeffries finished on 14 rushing attempts for 163 yards. Here's the thing about Connor Jeffries. Connor Jeffries is a track athlete, if I'm not mistaken. He is a straight-away runner. If they ever miss one or two tackles and they get into a foot race with him, you can forget it. Now, however, on the flip side of it, Chris Rowland will absolutely make those defenders look ridiculous. I mean, he break ankles after ankles, back, forth, boom, and gone. A little bit different than his brother. His brother was a little bit heavier, could handle that first touch. He is definitely a finesse player. He also had an 80-yard run called back on penalty, so he could have been easily over 100 yards. This score could have been worse than what it was, 55-27. But if you look at it in the third quarter alone, let's break down the score there, 23-13. Those 13 points that Siegel scored came late in that quarter, probably after the game was well in hand. But scoring 23 points in one quarter, you can see right there that they are dangerous at times.
Oh, yeah. They've got, as great as Chris Rowland and Connor Jeffries played, the best player on the field was Greedy House, tailback for the Siegel Stars, 194 yards rushing, 100 yards receiving. So he's a great player. We knew, I think we talked about this last week. We said outside of Tyrell Dodson, this is the best running back Ravenwood's going to see all year. We might see all year. And after Thursday night, he might be the best. Tyrell's a better linebacker, but you look at what Chris did. Receiving touchdown, rushing touchdown, and a throwing touchdown. Had over 300 yards. Like you said, if they don't get that 80-yarder call back, he's got over 400 yards. Chris is a guy they're going to put in space. They're going to move around a lot. They're going to be very creative the way they find him the ball because you're right. He can make people miss and has the speed to get the distance. You're going to see Connor in the backfield. They're going to try to get him a seam, and if he does, he's gone. So totally different players, but both big strike capabilities.
I agree with you 100%. Greedy House might be the best running back they see all year. 194 yards, people thinking that's where your scores came from for them. Still held them 27 points. That kid could play. Here's an interesting note that has changed from last year. Only 6 passing attempts the whole game for Ravenwood. Andrew Rapay, the quarterback that replaced Cole Brown this year, not new to the team or new to the G2 bar environment there, but 15 attempts. He had over 170 yards rushing, kind of in that Tim Tebow looking package.
Yeah, and I want to make sure we talked about that too. It is different. Don't forget about Rapay. 95 yards. That is on 3 attempts. Now, they had one that was, I think, a 70-yarder that was from Rowland, right? But then you go down to the rushing. He's got over 107 yards. If they had given the ball a time or two, or if that one hadn't come back on Chris Rowland, that's 3 guys over 100 yards rushing, and none of them played in the fourth quarter.
Here's the thing that sticks out to me. Defense, I know Coach Hester agreed with me. Got to step it up just a little bit because that's what they're hanging their hat on all year. Offense will get better as the year goes. Rapay's going to make them have to pay attention not only to the throw but the run together. And I think that once they get this figured out, that they will strike when the time is right on the pass. That will, could break a team's back. I see some good things for Ravenwood. I think that they have an opportunity to go deeper than maybe what I gave them credit for at the first because, we lost so much. But it's going to be fun to watch.
Yeah, it is. They're going to be a fun team. They'll get better each week.
Ravenwood moves on 1-0. Will Hester's at-home streak stays alive. Intact, undefeated at home, defeats Siegel 47-27. Centennial defeats Franklin in the Battle of Franklin 20-0. Obviously, Centennial's defense right now is the most heralded defense around, and the play of the week shows that. Warren Jones comes off the corner in this Jadeveon Clowney-like hit. Watch that, and we'll be right back.
9:36 here in the fourth quarter. Franklin needs something. Patterson stringing it out. Oh my
gosh.
Woo! Wow. You fill that up here.
Holloway had a great run on the punt. Woo. Going nowhere there. I don't know who made that hit.
I believe that's Warren Jones, 27.
Man, he came flying up from that safety position.
That could be our
Play of the week.
Jinx.
Man, what a vicious hit. He came off the corner, nobody touched him, and you see what can happen.
Oh, that was textbook. He had the proper angle, got to the ball, and I mean, he unloaded on that guy. That was a college NFL type hit. That was very impressive. Warren Jones. If he can do that a couple more times, people will be looking for 20. Where's 27? They'll make sure they know where he is. That's a great thing to have out of your safety.
I'm going to tell you something. He better be glad it wasn't 25 at him in that full speed, or he would have been
right.
probably toted off the field. But I hope that nobody got hurt. It was a great hit, like you said. Centennial's defense right now is just – they're rolling on all cylinders right now. Going into a game, they're going to need all their cylinders firing playing Hindi, but we'll talk about that in a minute. Franklin went in into battle Franklin 20-0. Not sure that you could have predicted that score.
No, I thought it'd be a little bit worse than that. So, but I don't know why I'm surprised. We knew Coach Webb, Dr. Defense, as we like to call him on the show, we knew he was going to have a good game plan, and he was going to make sure that they made them go on drives, kind of like we talked about with the Independence and Brentwood game. So, not surprised that they played well on defense. I still thought that they would get maybe break a few long runs on them or passes. I thought Franklin might be able to score. That's the thing that surprised me more than anything, the goose egg by Centennial. I mean, that's impressive. Anytime you shut out a 6A opponent, especially a Franklin, I don't care if they did lose Critchlow and some guys. They've got some athletes on that team. So that's very impressive. Don't forget now also, Franklin had an interception return for a touchdown on defense, got called back for a penalty. So defense played really well.
So my question to you is, the 20 points that Centennial scored, is that a bigger question mark offensively for Centennial or the 0 points offensively for Franklin? Which is the bigger question mark for those two teams?
The 0 points from Franklin, the 0 points not scored by Franklin's offense. I think with Centennial, you got to think about a couple of things. You got a brand new quarterback, Blake Lavelle. He wasn't even in the program until this year, transfer in from Spring Hill. So that's his first game. He went 10 for 17, 163 yards. I don't believe he turned the ball over. So you can win with that. With a defense like you've got at Centennial, you get quarterback play like that. They're going to give Tyrell the ball more as the year goes on. I think you can live with that. 0 points. They got another really quality team coming in Riverdale next week that we're talking about. You're not going to win games scoring 0 points.
Absolutely. Once again, Centennial in the Battle of Franklin beats Franklin 20-0. Independence comes in playing Brentwood. Everybody wanted to know what's the Ron Crawford Brentwood look like. We all know. And Coach Crawford would tell you as well that it's going to be a work in progress, getting things turned around there. Andy absolutely rolls 47-17. It's not for us, it's not a surprise that they scored 47 points. This is going to be week in and week out.
Right.
You're going to have to get in the track meet, running race with this team if you're going to stay with them. 17 points. Now, same question. Is that Brentwood's offense not being able to produce, or is it more that Independence's defense showed up, or is it a combination of? It's going to be interesting to see how Independence plays this out all year long. If they can get their defense in order, they will be the team to beat.
Yeah, and they're going to have to. I think it's more of a work in progress. Brentwood didn't produce. I don't want to say it that way, but they ended up with 17 points. Now, a lot of those came late. But what that stat doesn't show you is Brentwood had the ball inside the 5 3 times, came away with no points. One time, they're first and goal on the 5 because of penalties and things like that. They end up second and goal from the 40. So they moved the ball on them. They just didn't score points. So I think that's probably more of a question mark on Independence's defense. But, hey, the way they look at it, I guarantee you, we know Coach Blade, and he's got the gunslinger's mentality. He doesn't care if they score 45. As long as he scores 47, that's a win.
That's right. Their best defenses give us the ball back, right? I mean,
Yeah.
man, I'm telling you, game of the week. I know that we're going to be at Battle of the Woods, but I really think that this Centennial Indy game could be something
I do
of
too.
epic proportions to see how good Centennial's defense really is against arguably, the best offense in WCS Sports Conference.
I think you're right. I think until somebody shows differently, the Ravenwood offense is obviously explosive but different. Andrew Bunch is just playing at a very high level. Nate Johnson, we already knew about him as a receiver. He took the long punt return back against Brentwood. That was a very athletic play. So take away the points they left on the field, they could have got on the scoreboard going in on the 5, and then the punt return, well, that game's closer right there. So I think Coach Crawford, although the scoreboard didn't reflect it, I think he had to be pleased with the effort he got out of his kids.
All right, moving on. Page. Battle of 840 defeats Fairview 38-7. Now, let's make sure for the record books. Fairview has won 4 of the last 5.
That stunned me.
Shane Pantal is the new principal at Page High School. It's the 40th anniversary. Game day was there. Now, I'm going to tell you, we talk about the Big Six a lot, Tate. We've been to game day at every school with the exception of Page up until this point. The environment that the Page student body, Dr. Panthal, the whole 9 yards was unreal.
Yeah, it was a great atmosphere, great turnout. We talked about it on game day. I'm sure there is, but if there's a better looking field on game night than Page's, I'd like to see it. That grass was green, the stripes were bright. They had the sideline tarp, the helmet. It was just a great evening. So started off with a bang. Dr. Pantal and Dr. Oyer, they're 2 of our favorites. They do a great job with that. And then Page, they followed it up. They looked every bit as good on the field as their fan base looked before the game.
Well, Michael Roberts told us before the game he guaranteed a win, and I thought, yeah, that's a good young man. I hope you go out and play well. I was really shocked and stunned. This shows about high school mentalities. Page came out and did the old proverbial hit in the mouth first. Fairview never responded off the bat. The game was over pretty much from the first stop that they had. Went in and scored on the first drive, and it was downhill all the way for Fairview there, or for Page rather, rolling. I know that Coach Hughes is not probably pleased with that performance. They will get things right, get things on the right page. He always does. But I was kind of shocked at the outcome being 38-7. I thought it would be a little bit of a closer game.
Yeah, me too. And we talked about it. It's not an excuse for last year, but I think this game was week 5, week 6 last year. Page was so banged up. Michael Roberts didn't play. They were at full speed this year, and they did. They got after him from the very beginning. They came down, kicked the field goal on the first drive, get the ball back, came back. We were right down there in the corner of the end zone. That first touchdown pass from Magochi to Connor Morris, I don't care where that was. That ball couldn't have been thrown any better. Great catch. They did. They looked good.
We talk about Andrew Bunch. We talk about Nate Johnson. Those guys were paid earlier. Chris Rowland, you better keep Michael Magochi on the edge of your lips because I'm telling you, this kid can play. 6'4", looks good, throws a pretty ball. Spring Hill defeats Old Sparty in the Battle of the Hill there, 27-15. The score is, they lost by 12, but it was a one-possession game at one point in time late in the fourth, and Summit just could not produce a touchdown.
Had a chance, and here's the thing, the most encouraging thing of the whole thing. There have been times in the past where maybe second half of the third quarter and the fourth quarter, hey man, same old. These guys fought till the very end. Had a chance.
Well, they had a chance. Like you said, they didn't lay down. Now, when we went in thinking about this in all seriousness, we probably thought with the quarterback, Tyler Oden, going to Louisville, the athletes that they have, that this would not be a close game.
Right.
And to have the ball with a chance to go up by 1 if you score, I mean, we're not in it for moral victories, but Coach Coleman has to feel pretty good about where they are right now, about the direction they're going.
He does, and these guys are seeing, they're reaping the benefits of the hard work that they put in. They can see the results.
That concludes the WCS Sports Conference for last week. Mid-State top 10, we have 3 teams cracking the top 10. Independence at number 9, Centennial at number 7, and Ravenwood right now sitting at number 3. When we come back, we'll look at the scoreboard around all the regions and talk about this week's games and pick'ems. Stay with us. We'll be right back.
Hi, my name is Tanir. I chose this book because the pictures are really good. This is one of my favorite pictures. and you can learn some facts about them too. This is one of my favorite facts. It tells a lot about history, and it tells you different types of countries and like cities. And like German's like friend, he really likes the sport, and he wanted German Stelson to come with him and do the race across America with him. And German Stelson wins the race.
Welcome back to WCS Sports Connection. All right, Tate, it's the time of the show. Let's go through all the regions. We have all these new regions this year, games of interest and scores. Starting Region 3-6A, that's the Super 32. That includes Franklin and Ravenwood. Mount Juliet lost to Gallatin 34-31. Of course, Franklin did lose to Centennial. McGavick lost to Hendersonville 24-14. Overton lost to Stewart's Creek 16-8. Wilson Central lost to Beach 13-7. Antioch lost to Cane Ridge 20-0. Ravenwood, the only team in that region to come away with a win. Which one of those games sticks out to you?
Stewart's Creek beating Overton. That's not good for Overton.
It's not good. Mount Juliet losing to Gallatin to me, because we're all going in thinking Mount Juliet may be one of those top teams to beat. All right.
Region 7 5A, Dixon beat Creekwood 21-15. Clarksville Northeast beat Sycamore 14-3. Kenwood defeated West Creek 20-8. Clarksville 21-20 over Station Camp. Brentwood obviously lost to Indy. Rossview defeated East Nashville 30-19. Liberty Tech, did I say that right? Liberty Tech defeated Henry County 20-3. What stands out to you?
Obviously, the obvious is the Henry County lost. Unbelievable being around Liberty Tech for the years I was over in West Tennessee. Always looked good getting off the bus, played awful. Now, either they've changed things or Henry County's not as near as good as what we're giving them credit to. But I'll tell you another one. Rossview beating East Nashville 30-19. Kind of sticks out to me on that one. Region 5A, Lincoln County was off. Summit lost to Spring Hill. Stewart's Creek beat Overton 16-8. Shelbyville beat Lawrence County 48-14. Columbia beats Giles 19-18. Franklin County lost to Marshall County 60-23. Laverne lost to Smyrna 13-16. What sticks out?
Marshall County 60, Franklin County 23. If Franklin County gave up 60 points to Marshall County, they've got Independence on their schedule. Andrew Bunch might break the scoreboard.
I tell you one that sticks out to me for Old Sparty. Columbia beating Giles County 19-18. And not only Old Sparty there, also Page is implicated in this because of the Giles County. I've understood that Giles County did not look so good in the preseason, and Columbia staying close, so that means that could be a possibility game day at Old Sparty versus Columbia. It could be a win, first win at home for them.
That'd be huge.
Region 6, 3A, Fairview lost to Page. As we talked earlier, Stewart County lost to Montgomery Central 42-6. Cheatham County lost to Joe Burns 33-0. Wow. Sycamore lost to Northeast 14-3. East Hickman lost to Hickman County 44-26. There, Hickman County had 10 fumbles in that game. Camden lost to Waverly 21-14. Harpeth beat Clarksville Academy 42-28. Which one sticks out?
Camden defeating Waverly 21-14. Camden's probably pretty good this year.
Actually, Camden lost.
Oh, lost.
Waverly came from behind 21-14. So that I agree with you. I was going to point that out. Waverly being very athletic, came from behind to beat them. Fairview has to square off with them.
Yeah, that means they're going to be good again. Both of them. Camden's good. Waverly's going to be good. Region 4, 4A, Spring Hill beat Summit. Page beat Fairview. We talked about that. Shelbyville 48-14 winners over Lawrence County. Coffee County 42-7 over Tullahoma in the Coffee Pot Bowl or game. Columbia defeats Giles County 19-18, and we mentioned Marshall County 60-23 over Franklin County. What sticks out to you?
Once again, it goes back to that Giles County game, losing to Columbia, just because the fact that Page has probably not beaten Giles since they've gone into that new region with them. I think this is the year that Page, if they show like they did this past Friday, could look to be really at the top of that region.
Yeah, I think right now it's got to be Page and Marshall County.
Well, that brings us to scoreboard across all the regions. I think that's interesting. We're going to add this segment to it every week because now we do span across, seems like we span across the globe, but now we'll get maybe some understanding and some thoughts of what's going to happen down the road in region play. That brings us to this week's game. Tate, let's talk about it. Page at Lipscomb Academy. Lipscomb Academy going in 0-0. They're off this week. Predominantly Lipscomb Academy always is pretty difficult to beat, especially at Lipscomb. What do you think?
Is this Pick'em?
No,
we're talking about that. Lipscomb's better this year. We saw Coach Tillman. You know him. I know him. We saw him. He was at the game scouting. This is going to be, you're going to see a wide open spread passing team. You're going to see a spread running team. So they're very physical. They're better this year. This is going to be a good game. I think if you're looking for one to go to, this would be a good one to go to. But it's going to be pass versus run. Well,
I think Michael Roberts and the defense are going to have to watch, like you said, really. Fairview did not throw probably as much as they wanted to, but the plays that they did throw with Hunter Zimmerman, they were really, really playing good, tight defense there. Hunter had a hard time getting some passes off. So maybe if they get some pressure up front on the quarterback on the spread, you never know what happens. They're going to have the same energy level that they had this week moving forward.
I think they will. They've got a lot of seniors, Michael Roberts and Michael Magochi. Obviously, they look like they're the leaders on that offense. We didn't talk about it earlier, but we will later. They had a couple of receivers step up big. Connor Moore stepped up big. Trevor Johnson played well on defense. So I don't think you're going to have a problem with that. They got senior leadership on this team. They know they've got a chance to have a really special year.
Fairview 0-1 coming in playing at first home game for them against Creekwood, who's also 0-1. Lost to Dixon 21-15. Dixon has not been necessarily the stellar program in a while, so that's it's kind of fool's gold right now to try to compare that to that. But I think that Fairview rights the ship right here, tries to get back against Creekwood at home.
Yeah, they're going to have a chip on their shoulder. You're right. Coach Hughes was not pleased. I don't think some of the seniors on Fairview's team were. This is going to be the same things we just talked about with Page Lipscomb. Okay? Creekwood's big. They're physical. They're going to run it at you, kind of like they did last year. So they're going to have to be able to find a way to get Hunter Zimmerman in space and get some guys making some plays. But I think they'll come back and play better.
Going back to the Page Fairview game, I think there was a shell shock factor. I think Fairview really, really, really thought that they were going to walk out there and just when it happened, I think there was a shock factor there. I go back to some of the quotes that Coach Rathbone said that this is not really a rival for them. I disagree with him. I think their kids thought that, and they went out and played like it was a rival and one that they wanted to win.
Yeah, they did.
And Coach Hughes will right the ship. He'll get things right. Fairview will get rolling there. Franklin versus Riverdale. How do you return the fact, come in and play Ravenwood next week, but this week you come in off Centennial, get in big, then you turn around and have to play Riverdale, who's also in that mid-state top 10, 1-0. Riverdale beat Ottawa 9-5. Interesting score there.
Yeah, and the touchdown, the only touchdown of the game, which was Riverdale's, was an interception for a touchdown. So there wasn't a whole lot of offense in both those games. Another 2 weeks in a row, Franklin's going to see another top-notch defense. Riverdale's defense is very, very nice. So they're going to have to come up with another good game plan on defense, keep that score low, and then not going to be able to turn the ball over. But it's another tough test. A tall task for the Rebels.
Ravenwood 1-0 versus Brentwood 0-1. Battle of the Woods, WCS game day. Man, that place, the Nest, will be absolutely bonkers.
It's going to be fired up, man. Coach Hester, he'll tell you all the time, one of the most influential guys in his coaching career is Ron Crawford. So you've got that going. You've got Will went to Brentwood, played at Brentwood, and then all you got to say is Brentwood, Ravenwood anyways, and it's a big deal. So that's going to be a fun time. Game day is going to be there. It's going to be. You picked a good one on that one.
Well, you got to go back to last year thinking they went to Brentwood. Brentwood at that time, it was later in the season, was I think maybe 1-3, 0-4, somewhere in that range. The Nest showed up and invaded Brentwood 2 hours before kickoff, and we're chanting.
We can't hear you.
Yeah, we can't hear you to an empty section over there. So imagine what it's going to be like at home for Battle of the Woods. I mean, you throw all bets off the table. Hatred. There's only one school for one town right now, as they like to chant.
A city for one.
A city for one.
Coach Hester has guaranteed a stellar turnout by the student body.
Okay, we're going to hold them to it. Indy versus Centennial, arguably the best game in the state. Probably, definitely the mid-state, definitely the conference. I think, man, Independence hosting Centennial. What a game that's going to be.
It's going to be a good one. Without a doubt, when you put these two together, that's the most athletes on one field that we're going to have all year long. That's going to be a great one. I can't wait to see who you pick.
So, let's talk about this game real quick for just a minute. It's at Independence, Indy Nation, who's a great student body. We have the best student bodies from A to Z, as we've talked about many times. Indy Nation right now feeling really comfortable where they are, loving things. Centennial kids will travel as well. But, man, can you imagine the defensive effort that they're going to have to put up for this game?
Yeah, it's going to be – and they're both momentum teams, and they're both quick strike teams. You know, neither one of them like to go 8, 9, 10, 11 play drives. So it's going to be – it's kind of the same story for both teams, but they go about it differently the way they do it. But Centennial's going to have to play great defense, cannot give up the big play. Don't let them score on the second play of a drive. You know, can't give up punt returns. Same thing in return for Independence. That defense, they're going to have to play – if Brentwood can get inside the 5 3 times in the first 3 quarters, well, we know Centennial's offense right now is better than Brentwood's. They're going to have to play better on defense than they did this past Friday night.
Well, obviously, you're right. And Centennial's, you know, if Centennial can pass – if Independence, when they use their passing game, could exploit Centennial secondary, which we don't know a whole lot about because Franklin did not choose to pass a lot. So let me ask you this. What kind of implications is this going to have down the road? Is there an opportunity and a chance that these two square off in the playoffs?
Oh, without a doubt. What I'm hoping is if they both go separate ways, I don't know how that works yet. If they both go separate ways, and especially when you see that Henry County score, could we have a WCS, all WCS Sports Conference championship game? That'd be unbelievable. That'd be really neat. If they go separate paths, yes.
All right, Old Sparty, 0-1 coming in, playing Clarksville Northwest. This is the game I told everybody to mark the calendars down for because this could be the first home victory. Now, Northwest came in, it's coming in 1-0. They beat Hunters Lane 20-0. Don't know anything about Hunters Lane. You might, what do we expect from Northwest?
Well, Hunters Lane's not very good, but you know they had some athletes. Northwest is obviously a little bit better, but that's a good win for them. That's a game when they're looking at their schedule. That was one they had circled as a win if they were going to get to whatever it was. Northwest had that one circled, and I guarantee you they've got Summit circled on that one. So they're going to come down here thinking they're going to win.
Well, if they do win, and I'm going to predict, I'm going to go ahead and tell you right now, I'm going to predict that they win. I sure hate the fact that we will be at game day elsewhere and not be able to see the home. But
we got some great games this week.
Home win, I guarantee it. All right, so it brings us time. Right now, I'm sitting at 4-1. You're sitting at 5-0. You made some great picks. I'm just going to give this little letter right here. I'm going to keep this for some motivation to my Fairview crowd. I love them. Thank you for being helping me out in my picks last week. Paige at Lipscomb, who do you have?
Before last week's game, I'd have gone with Lipscomb Academy, but after watching them on Friday night, my man Michael Magochi, he looks like he's ready for a big senior year. They're healthy. I'm going to go with the Patriots.
Absolutely. Michael Roberts, Michael Magochi right now, if they can just get it, this is a mental win for them. They get this win, it's big time. I'm going to go Paige with you. Fairview at Creekwood, home opener for Fairview.
You're not going to like this. I'm going with Creekwood. It's at Creekwood. They played Dixon County tight, and they're big and physical.
Fairview, I'm passing this to him because Fairview is getting back in the win column right there. Franklin versus Riverdale, home opener for Franklin.
Dr. Defense will have another good game plan, but Riverdale's got too much firepower. Coach A and the Warriors get the win.
I don't know. You kind of changed my mind a while ago. Riverdale, questionable in offense. Franklin, at home, behind the riot, behind that group, that student body there, the rebellion. I'm going to go Franklin right there. Ravenwood versus Brentwood, Battle of the Woods.
G2 bar.
He's going G2 bar. You're going to have to come to game day to figure out who I'm picking. Indy versus Centennial, game of the week.
I never, ever pick against Brian Rector, but I am today. I think Independence gets the win. I think they're more polished right now.
So I have to go against you. Centennial right there. Defensive stops at Independence. Spoils Indy Nation's undefeated regular season bid there. Old Sparty versus Clarksville Northwest.
Old Sparty gets the first home win.
Old Sparty gets the win at home. All right, this has been WCS Sports Connection. I'm Jeremy Qualls, co-host Tate Mathews. We'll see you next time.